Awesome. So today I'm going to be discussing the power of plants and the impacts it can have on our lives, and also the ways in which we, as a society, are choosing to neglect plants and their significance in our day-to-day lives. So to start off, I think it'd be important. So let me move my face out of the way. Ooh, let's see. Um, Down here will be good. I think it'd be important to talk about first and foremost what the relationship between plants and humans are. Plants and humans do have a very, very unique relationship that really can be quite beautiful, but often we choose to neglect it. The relationship itself is one that is only beneficial for humans. Having plants within, your day-to-day life and around you, whether it be in your workspace or at home or even at school, having those plants around you can improve so many different aspects of your life, but we choose to neglect it. And so it's only a beneficial relationship if we choose to have it. But like, as it says, rather than seeing those immense benefits that life can with plants can bring, we tend to not acknowledge the presence because it often can just fade into the background. That's where plant blindness is, and that's what I plan on discussing after this as well. So what exactly is plant blindness and what causes it? So plant blindness is, the term that discusses us as humans and us as society and how we choose to avoid or neglect plants within our day-to-day lives. We just don't see them, don't acknowledge them, don't recognize them. And there's reasons for that. I think first and foremost, there's a lack of education on the power of plants. I think as kids being raised into the education system, I think it's important to know that we didn't get a huge, I guess, educational part of our childhood divvying into the power of plants. We knew what plants were, we knew what they did, but we didn't understand how they affected our lives. We understood the processes of how plants work, but we never saw the direct correlation and benefits into our day-to-day life. So I think it's important to know that we don't have enough people telling us about the benefit of plants. We don't have enough people in society, in our government, in our schools that are educated and know how to share the power of these plants. And so, because of that, we can't really acknowledge or recognize the power of them solely because of the fact that we don't know about them. We don't know enough about them, at least. Although we probably do know is that aesthetically they're probably a little pleasing, but there's so much more to it than an aesthetic standpoint. And then second is just a lack of awareness. That's the main bugaboo about plant blindness is that we're not aware. We don't know anything about it. And so I think our brains are very wired to process and acknowledge things that stand out. Obviously, whenever we're walking down a street, we will acknowledge things that are moving in front of us, colors that stand out to us, and groups of people that may look different, things that are living and moving that catch our eye. Plants are one thing in our lives that have been very constant. They're stationary, always outside, easy to block out because we don't know life without plants being outside, which is good. It's a good thing that we don't know life without plants, but it's a bad thing that we choose not to acknowledge it because it's so constant. And they're stationary. They're stationary. You know that most plants are green. Nothing's going to like stand out and stick out to you whenever you're just walking down a road. And so it's very easy for us whenever we're walking to allow plants to blend into the background and us to choose not to acknowledge and see the beauty that, has been created for us. So going into actual benefits of plants, I hope to be able to educate you guys on how plants can be extremely beneficial, and hopefully that allows you to gain awareness and choose to be proactive in acknowledging the plants in our lives. So first and foremost, I'll talk about the health benefits of plants. I think plants themselves improve your mental health. It is scientifically proven. It is not an opinion. It is a scientifically proven fact that plants have a natural, peaceful, and calming nature, and significantly decrease anxiety and depression. And the reason behind that is because they are constant and they are always growing. They're quiet. They don't make a lot of noise. They can be noise barriers actually between you and people, but ultimately, what it does, having plants in a household or in a workspace or at your school, that provides a more fresh and clean air to whatever space that you are within. And that means you have more oxygen around you, more fresh air to the brain, and ultimately that eases the nerves, relaxes you in areas in life that might be a little bit more stressful for us. And that goes into the physical components of what is in plants that causes that. The natural scent of plants, scientifically proven, has calmed the nerves of most people. Whenever you walk into a room and you just smell the smell of fresh plants, that's fun. That's exciting. There's something that is just so soothing and relaxing about that feeling. And you notice that if you ever been to a botanical garden, if you walk to a botanical garden, the first thing you notice is the scent, and the scent is just puts you at ease and makes you appreciate the process even more. But also, in providing more oxygen to the household, that means more fresh air to the brain, which means you're more prone to work efficiently as well. So you're not too stressed out about work to where you can't get your work done. Rather, you feel productive and motivated to get that work done rather than stressing out about it. It also boosts your immune system. Having a strong immune system is something that can be a struggle for a lot of people in life, and doctors, scientifically have proved and are implementing getting plants into the lives of those who do struggle with weak, poor immune systems. And it's tied very directly to the mental health benefits as well, where having plants in our lives decreases the stress that is going on in our brain. And lack of stress also increases our immune system's capabilities. So plants that are in our lives contain phytoncides and airborne chemicals, and these are considered stress-reducing chemicals. It's a scientific fact about it. And this helps lead to fighting off a ton of illnesses that people go through pretty regularly, such as the common cold, the flu, or other regular illnesses. And also it leads to just regular sleep patterns as well. Whenever people are stressed out, it is easy for them to overthink things, and their brain is very restless. And so going to bed is tough, especially at a regular time, getting a regular amount of sleep, because going to bed can be a hard task for people who are constantly stressed out or dealing with anxiety or depression. So allowing plants to be within the household only aids that. It doesn't, there's no way of it hindering, but it only aids that process. If it eases your nerves even in the slightest, it makes your sleep patterns feel a lot more regular and a lot easier to accomplish, rather than sitting there and just constantly stressing out and having nothing to help. The work benefits of having plants is something that I believe isn't touched on enough, and I believe needs to be stressed in every workplace in order to gain the greatest productivity out of your team. It's not for, the cool looks of all of it. Yes, that is important, but ultimately it increases productivity more than anything. First and foremost, it decreases your work stress levels. Work is, universally a stressful environment. People don't, enjoy going to work that often, and it can easily overwhelm you. The thing that we worry about most in life is coming home to a big old plate of work. But, the points that aren't touched on about mental health apply to the decrease of stress within the workplace as well. So with all the things that, I've discussed about how it's improved our mental health, take that into the workplace, and that, directly applies to the quality of work that you are able to give to your boss. So having those specific mental health applications, such as a decrease in stress, decrease in anxieties, and going in feeling very soothed, comfortable, and calm, actually increases your productivity far greater. It is stimulating to the brain to have plants around you. So going to work can actually be very motivating, and being productive is something that you actually genuinely feel within your heart rather than stressing things out. And then the increase in productivity, as I just discussed, plants do provide a unique aspect to a work environment, and allowing that fresh oxygen to be circulating throughout the office place can be very, very good to someone who is overstressed and isn't thinking in the right place. And having that fresh oxygen to the brain can ultimately clear their head a little bit, allow them to feel stimulated during their breaks and come back feeling motivated to get the work done in an efficient manner rather than feeling very lost. Continued work benefits of having plants. I think it increases your overall motivation to come to work. Man, getting to work is half the battle. Being able to get out of the bed and go to work and feel motivated to do so is very difficult. And so sometimes whenever you're coming to work, knowing that the environment that you're going to go to is one that you enjoy and one that is peaceful and one that you can feel productive and comfortable in is crucial. I think if you go to a work environment that is very crammed, very hectic, chaotic, it's very hard to want to go and spend 8 hours in that environment. But if you're strategically able to place plants throughout the workspace, a lot of those things start to drift away and you start to realize how fun and enjoyable a work environment can be. And ultimately, whenever you get to the point where you're able to be productive because of those plants being around you, it feels good to be productive. It feels good to want to be able to accomplish work and like get a lot accomplished whenever you're there. So having plants will aid in your ability to want to get to work because you know that you're going to be productive and you're going to accomplish something good that day. It feels good to have that hard work. Also having plants outside the workplace, right outside, to make the aesthetic appeal is super, important to, from an economic standpoint. I think having the aesthetic attraction to customers makes, patrons and civilians draw near to your, establishment because it's more aesthetically pleasing and gives off a little bit more of an inviting and welcoming vibe rather than one that is just a cinder block building that is kind of hard to look at or doesn't really stand out to you. And then for a personal benefit to having plants around you, overall, it makes you more spirited. A decrease in stress allows you to express spirit and motivation and passion in other aspects of your life, such as your family, your relationships that you're a part of, and also expressing the desire to be physically fit as well. All this stuff is very healthy for your body and for your brain, but it's hard to accomplish that without motivation, and that's what implementing plants into our lives can do. I also believe that being spirited leaves for a ton of room of growth in our lives. Choosing to be motivated and choosing to be proactive by having plants around us and being productive is us choosing to seek growth and become a better version of ourselves. So plants can inadvertently allow us to better ourselves because we feel most motivated to do that. It also increases our appreciation for life, since it does, scientifically decrease the depressive tendencies in our lives. That in that we're also increasing our appreciation for what life is. There are certain aspects of life that weigh all of us down, and those with depressive tendencies can tend to really magnify those aspects of our life that are weighing us down, which is completely normal. It is, a mental state. But implementing plants into our lives, which will decrease those depressive tendencies, will allow us to shed light on aspects of our life that aren't weighing us down and show appreciation for the things of life that are beautiful. Plants are a beautiful, beautiful thing. And taking notice of it is something that just can completely rewire and change your mindset on your day-to-day life. And then ultimately, plants are constant. It's the best part about having plants in our life is people, animals, living creatures in our life are temporary, and ultimately they are very sporadic and unpredictable. Plants aren't. Plants are predictable beings. If they are properly taken care of, they grow, but they are constant and unchanging in their effects. They're always calming, always beautiful, and scientifically, they will always benefit our lives with having them around us. And with that, that means our quality of life is taking a significant increase. That means, having a constant presence in our life that isn't a human, that isn't an animal, having a constant presence in our life will always, create a healthier environment in our day-to-day and will, constantly be improving how you choose to view yourself and how you choose to view your work. Constance and consistency is something that will always choose to, allow you to grow and allow you to motivate yourself. So I think after laying out these different benefits, I think it's important to realize the steps of action that we need to take. I think the easiest thing that we can do is just buy one plant and see the benefits that it reaps. See how fun it is to take care of a plant and see it grow and see it have fun. And also, you know, even if you can't do that, if you don't have the finances to buy a plant, just go outside and take the blinders off for a day. Walk outside, take off the blinders, and appreciate what's around you. We have an incredible creation around us that is beautiful, ever growing, and has such incredible colors, but we choose to neglect that. And so let's choose not to do that. Let's choose to appreciate and acknowledge what it is and see how it benefits you. And I think it's important to figure out ways to implement plants into your day-to-day in different aspects. Have a plant that you bring to work or that you have at your desk. Have a plant that you carry around in your backpack if you're going to school, so that whenever you get into your desk, you can just put it down and look at it and say, that's pretty cool. At home, find places to put plants in your home and see how much more refreshing and rejuvenating it is to spend time in that space. And in your relationships, give your girlfriend some flowers, give your significant other a plant, see how much fun they have with it, see how much you enjoy taking care of a plant together. Ultimately, the power of plants is one that changes lives. And I think it is most important for us to choose to stop neglecting that power and stop, neglecting the significance and learn to appreciate how beautiful this creation is and how beautiful all the benefits are. Thank you.